everyone. This is Tim Howe, Motion Your First Class, and today we're going to be in Illustrator learning about the Perspective Grid tool. Consider supporting me by downloading one of my fonts, either the free one or the paid ones. I do recommend on this tutorial that you watch the 1-point perspective first. Get more in detail on that, and then you can apply that to 2 and 3-point perspectives after that, okay? But we are going to be using photos to kind of match the perspective of, so we can draw right on the photos. Look forward to working with you. All right, y'all, let's make something like this. Okay, so this is my students needing to create like an AR experience, and so we're just kind of drawing on different things, right? So we'll draw on this aisle, and then we'll do a 2-point and 3-point perspective on a library or something like that, okay? But you can kind of see the idea is that, I've got these items at the end that's on my list. I've got something on my here that I frequently buy, but maybe is not on my list. And I've got this stuff on the floor that allows me to kind of go through and come down, all right? All right, open to fresh one here. So again, view, perspective grid. We might want to learn this hotkey, Shift-Control-I or Shift-Command-I on a Mac. And that opens up that perspective grid tool. And it looks a lot like this, and you may have seen it when you didn't want to see it. But anyways, you can toggle it on and off by that hotkey. But in our case, we have this 1-point perspective that we want to do, and it's just too big. Now, ideally, in an ideal world, we could scale our grid up, but I just found it to be too frustrating. So we're going to scale this down instead. Now, you might say, well, that's going to be messed up. I don't want it that small. Well, you're an Illustrator, so you can make this bigger later, okay? So just deal with it, all right? So I'm going to bring it down till it makes sense to me. And then I'm going to shift this from 1-point perspective to 2. So under the view settings, we're going to come down to, again, perspective grid, and come over to 1-point perspective view, okay? Now I can't really see my grid, so I'm going to come over here as well to the side and turn down my opacity. Now if you guys have a different workspace than I do, I recommend coming here to the top corner, and hopefully it's on the screen, but the top right corner you should have this workspace area, and I'm working in Essentials Classic, so yeah, go there and work how I work. Okay, and that way it will be less confusing. But I'm going to bring my opacity down to say, I don't know, 35 or so, just so I can see what I'm doing. All right, cool. So we're going to use a couple tools. I had them open already, but I'll close them out. If you're in that same perspective grid, or if you're in my same workspace, that Essentials Classic workspace, I'm going to come over here to my perspective grid. I'll hold down on this, and I'll come over to this little pop-out because we're going to be using both of these tools a ton, and it's just annoying to go back and forth, and I just like to have them out there. Okay, so this first one is the one we'll mess with at first. And then I'm going to set the horizon first. So that's this side area. And to find the horizon, I can kind of use the ceiling. I can kind of use the floor. And we really just want it to kind of point towards all those things. So you can kind of see how these are coming in. So I know that the middle is to the right a little. And the up and down will be kind of determined by where I am on the side here. So I might bring this whole thing down a little as well. Then I'll bring this horizon up, and I'm kind of looking at this side of the aisle just to see how it feels. And then maybe I'll slide this over just to see, and that it looks like I'm off on that. So let's bring this back to the middle perhaps, and I might need to just go down as well. That's feeling better, so maybe I keep going over. Yeah, and I'm feeling like that. Oh, it was feeling better, but now this side's all broken. So maybe the horizon's in the wrong spot. So let's bring that down a bit more. Bring this over a bit more. Okay, and I am just still not finding this stubborn little thing. It feels better that way. So I might just not be low enough on my horizon. A little higher, a little righter. Okay, but go ahead and do this on you. If I can't get it here in the next second, I'll give up. That's feeling a little better, a little higher. Okay, I think I got it now. Okay, or at least close enough for me. Now, one trick, so this is kind of the end of where I can draw on, and we'll show you guys how to draw here in a second. I could be happy with this. I like to kind of get my stuff a little more perfect, so I'm actually going to grab this whole thing now. I'm going to grab my scale tool, up here, S on the keyboard to find it. And because I have already found the vanishing point or close to it, I'm just going to hold shift as I scale this down just to get all the way in there so that the grid ends here where the shelf ends. Okay, I'm not sure if that made any sense, but that's what I want to do. Okay, with that perspective grid tool, I can then just increase the size of this area all the way down to the end of the aisle. It looks like it's not increasing any further. You kind of see that it feels like it kind of ends there. But as I zoom in, you'll see that that grid continues to follow my direction, right? So it's just a preview thing, nothing to worry about. Okay, so next let's start drawing on this thing. So kind of counterintuitively, I mean, I could just start drawing. You'll notice up here I have the ability to draw either on the floor or the side. I don't have the ability to draw on the other side. You'll see no active grid. That basically means that I only really have 2 planes because it's just a 2-point perspective. And I'll show you how to draw on this right-hand side later. But I'm kind of good to go. If I were to click on this top, the side, I can start drawing on the side. If I click on the bottom plane, I can start drawing on the bottom. And so if that's what you want to do, that's great. Now for me though, I have kind of a specific vision of what I'd like to do. Now we kind of talked, I kind of showed you earlier though, maybe I want to highlight some stuff. So this is the perfect way to do that. So let's say I want to highlight the rich chocolatey Ovaltine. Oh, and here's Nesquik. Okay, so I'll highlight that Nesquik. Maybe I'll throw a yellow into it. And you know, maybe I'll do this a little differently than I demoed. Maybe I set a multiply on it. And so it's kind of highlighting that area as maybe an object that I might want. Okay, cool. But for most other things, we want to be a little more specific, and we might not want to draw directly on there. So I'm going to come again, use my hotkey, Shift Command I or Shift Shift Control I, and get rid of that because I want to draw some stuff. So let's draw my arrow off to the side. I'll rotate it, and I'll get rid of it. With the pen tool. So I've got my nice arrow that I want, and I'll just have a couple copies in case I need them. Yeah, and then what else? I know we needed to, I was going to type the word yogurt in there. So yogurt, let's get a better font going. Okay, and maybe a little bit of a boldness to it. Ooh, it is not liking all these clicks. I'll just type in bold, perfect. And we'll give that a yellow as well. And what else? We needed a thing that kind of said how far away it is. Something like 30 feet. You guys get the idea. Make that light. All right, bring it on down. Okay, cool. So I think I have all the things I need now. So the other tool that we want to learn is this, what is this thing even called? So perspective selection allows me to do a couple things, right? So let's say I want to place these things on the floor. I think I can shift select all of them. Let's see if it'll work. I need to get back into my perspective mode though. So Command Shift I, and then I'm gonna, if I want to put them on the side here, I could. Because the side is what is selected, but I want to put them on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to undo that, and once I click and drag onto that grid, you'll see that it puts them right onto the floor. And if I wanted to say copy more of these down, I could hold Alt and kind of copy more of them over here. And I kind of like that kind of staggered idea. Okay, I could also scale them on the grid with this tool. Now, this is glitchy. Sometimes I have to click off and back on to find the bounding box, but once you have it, you should be able to move it. Now, it's tempting, it's very tempting to move this thing around with the black arrows because we're so used to that, but you'll notice that it breaks the grid immediately. So whenever you want to reach for something, whenever you want to mess with these, please reach for this perspective selection tool instead. So another selection tool for you to worry about. Isn't that great? Okay. The other thing you can't do is really rotate stuff once it's on the floor. At least I haven't found a way to do that in perspective. So I usually recommend keep a copy off to the side, which I did not do. Okay. But let's go ahead and put the yogurt in there as well. This, and drag it onto the floor. And again, I can scale that up. And yeah, the yogurt is on its way. Okay, let's go ahead and get this going so you guys can see it all done and did. Okay, this yellow is not showing up how I want it to. So let's go ahead and switch that back to multiply version. And now I'm able to see it a little better for some other selection, okay? So in order to draw the other side, let me bring the opacity down again. It's kind of not all that magical, but basically you are going to come back to your perspective grid tool here, and you will just slide this over to the other side, which you kind of saw me working on earlier. So it's not all that magical. You would think that you'd want to change this side over, but it really is just that same selection. But now I have the ability to draw all over this, however and wherever I'd like. Okay, cool. Let's move on to 2 and 3 point perspectives. All right, this is actually a 3 point perspective, but I'm going to show you both on this one. And you know, the one way I know it's 2 point at least is because all these angles are going that way, and then all these angles are kind of converging that way. And the reason I know it's a 3 point is because all these angles are converging also down below. So I'll show you the 3rd point later, but I'm just gonna kind of bust through this one a little quicker than the last. Perspective grid. Let's get that 2 point perspective going. Let's decrease the opacity on this beauty. And then let's kind of match one of these angles. So I'm going to grab my perspective grid tool like we did on the last one, and I'm going to bring this thing down to the corner. Maybe I'll bring the whole thing down. There we go. And then this is going to be my top corner possibly, and then I'll move my horizon up to where it makes sense. And you kind of see I can almost match this one perspective point here. So that's helping me. This other one's gonna be stubborn and weird, and I'm gonna have to haul it over. Now, don't freak out because of what's happening. I'm mostly just looking at my blue grid here to the right-hand side of the screen to kind of get the grid angles correct. And I'm off screen now, but I think I'm pretty close. So let me bring this bigger just to kind of see it. And this is where we can kind of see, oh, actually this is a 3 point perspective, isn't it? Right? But it's not a big deal. I have most of what I need, and it looks like I might need to go a little higher on my horizon line here though. And because of that, I need to adjust this other side as well. So if all I wanted was just to kind of get a little lazy with this and kind of get it in there, this probably would be enough for me, especially because I've mostly found the floor plane now, and I can draw on that floor plane and everything's fine. This gets weird when I start drawing over here, and the more I draw, the more you'll see that it's off because I don't have that 3rd point of perspective. Okay, but same thing, I have the ability now to draw on both walls and the floor because I have that 3rd point of perspective, that 2 point perspective, I should say. Okay, so this is what 3 point looks like. And this one got a little goofy, right? Because it is kind of a very shallow 3 point perspective. But basically, I just kind of pushed and pulled on this thing until it worked. And this is what mine ended up looking like, right? My horizon is pretty shallow to the corner that I want it to be placed on. And then, yeah, I had to kind of pull this thing way the heck down just so I can get to the edge of it. But I have now my ability to have my verticals. I have this thing way over here, and I have my 3rd point way down here. So it's a little awkward, but now, yeah, my angles are all going to be much more accurate and stuff. So, you know, identify kind of where you're at, identify, you know, what surfaces you want to draw on. Would also help to know, you know, what you need to do. But I think based on that first tutorial, you should be able to figure out these other ones. Okay, y'all, enjoy drawing in perspective. All right, that's it. Consider liking and subscribing if it helped, and we'll see you all next time.